So a couple months ago, I said I would post a video. Now that it's been over a couple years of me owning this Brushy Mountain 9-frame radial extractor. Um, so definitely still happy with it. I built this platform for it, and I cut out a slot for a bucket to go in there. Holds the bucket. Basically, the slot just holds the bucket steady while you're spinning, so like the vibrations don't cause it to like come off the platform or walk away from the gate valve there so that you don't lose any honey. Works out great. The basement or the garage flooded, so the my platform's a little warped right now. I'm probably just gonna rebuild it. This one I didn't even have to build. It was already just kind of stored out in the barn for whatever, and I just kind of took it and bolted the extractor down to it. Couple things if you're going to do one, make sure you're running 2x4s near each leg, because otherwise the OSB will flex when you're spinning, and it won't be as stable as it could be with just a couple 2x4s running near the legs. I did have an incident where I knocked over the honey extractor. It was 100% my fault, and I broke this lid. And I called Brushy Mountain, and it was like $10 or maybe even a little less than that for to get a new half. I didn't even have to buy both sides, so that was really nice. And then it gave me an opportunity to buy some extra ball bearings for this thing. The ball bearing that it came with is still totally fine, but it's so small, and I always worry that I'm going to lose it when I'm cleaning it. Therefore, I bought, I think, two or three extras. I did take the spring out of this. So this normally has a spring so that it disengages right away. The spring is kind of tight, so when you're really cranking it, it's hard to keep it pushed in while it uh, while you're trying to like keep it going at a steady speed or whatever, and you're supposed to be spinning this thing for like 10 minutes, and it just becomes too much of a pain. So I took it out. So now it doesn't disengage. It'll keep spinning for a while, but I don't know. It's one safety feature that I felt was too much of a pain in the ass. But really easy. There's just a little snap ring in here that you can take off, and then you'll be able to slide the whole handle off. And obviously, the spring will come with it. When you put it back on, you leave the spring out. Um, yeah, so everything works really good with it. Really easy to clean. Haven't had any issue. Somebody, when I originally was looking at it, said that the rim way down in the corner will trap honey and eventually mold. I have never had that happen. Sometimes I just wash this thing out with a garden hose and a rag. Other times I'll get the power washer out and do it. But I've never had any trouble with the mold. So yeah, thing works great. Definitely great buy. But one other thing, I just got done building this bucket warmer, warming box for basically uncrystallizing honey. Um, use the plans that Beekeeper's Workshop, the guy on those YouTube videos, he used these plans. I'm not sure if he made them. But a couple things I wanted to point out for other people who are looking into a warming box. Um, if you're going to use these plans, add 6 inches onto the width. You'll be able to fit two buckets in here at that time. And you probably won't even need to really add another light bulb because you're not you're not going to be adding that much onto the chamber. But maybe you do want to add two light bulbs if you're going to add that size to it. Um, but I didn't realize until after I built this. I'm so close to being able to fit two buckets of honey in there, and I'm just a little shy. So if you add 6 inches on, you should have no issue with it. Um, I used OSB, 7/16 OSB instead of using the quarter-inch hardboard for a couple of reasons. One, the original plan used quarter-inch hardboard and foiled insulation to trap the heat in there, and my Home Depot carries neither of those. It has the 1/8 inch hardboard, but I didn't really feel like spending all that time changing the measurements for something that doesn't even have a high insulation value. Whereas 7/16 OSB is about an R4 value for insulation, which is decent. It's definitely not where it needs to be. But I figured I was going to do a couple trial runs and see how this thing holds its temperature with just the OSB before I consider ordering foiled insulation. Um, But yeah, I mean, OSB was cheaper than the hardboard. I did have to change the measurements a little bit to account
Mm-hmm.
for the new thickness um, of the sheathing material. But it all worked out great. I put a chain on it to stop the lid from, flying back, and I put some rubber feet on it. So getting ready to use this. I got plenty of bottles that have crystallized over winter, and it's time to start thawing those out so they look better for a sale. I also just got done processing quite a bit of honey, so about 3/4 of those boxes were leftover honey from last year that I never got around to. So I got that all done and started repainting some of the boxes. So been busy, but yeah. So definitely excited about the warming box. It took me like an afternoon to build, and just you know, not sure why they didn't make the plans either a little bit smaller, so it was just for one bucket, or well, actually, I know why they made it this size. It's so that a queen excluder fits. But when you think about a 5 gallon bucket, I don't really trust a metal queen excluder to be holding a 50, 60 pound bucket of honey. Um, so I did add these slats to it, rather than just depending on the uh, um, the queen excluder. So all right, so that's all I got. For those of you looking into extractors, 2 years later, still happy with the Brushy Mountain Radial 9 frame. I am gonna look into buying that motor kit for it this year. So that's another thing. I recommend getting the motor kit because spinning a dozen boxes of honey in a day, even at just 28 years old, I mean it just kills my arm by the end of the day. So I think getting a motor would be better. It's obviously a lot cheaper if you just buy the setup with the motor rather than having to add it on like I'm going to have to now. So, yep. Hopefully, I'll do another update when I put a motor on it. Probably be happening sometime this summer before any big honey flows happen. So, cool. Hopefully, you guys will drop in then.